Seriously, don't go and have a child with the guy you broke up with. Oh, wait, did you not forget about me? Did you think that having a child might keep our connection alive? Hey, what's the deal?
Honestly, it's utterly ridiculous. Looking back now, breaking up was absolutely the right decision. If I had stayed with this delusional man, I would never have achieved the happiness I have today. Today, I want to share the unforgettable dark chapter of my life and its tale of rebellion. My name is Olivia. I'm a 53-year-old stay-at-home wife who finds joy in leisurely doing household chores while watching the morning news. At the time, I was 38 years old and lived peacefully with my husband, Michael. However, during this period, a slightly unsettling atmosphere began to pervade our home. My husband started responding to my words with curt phrases like whatever, or so what. Oddly authoritative or indifferent. When I tried to continue a conversation, he'd abruptly cut me off with a dismissive, "I'm busy." It felt like he was treating me carelessly, almost callously. He wasn't originally like that. Rather, he enjoyed chatting and would often crack jokes to make me laugh. But now, this transformation was disconcerting. I wondered if I had done something wrong, but I couldn't pinpoint any specific reason. Then, one day, I noticed a faint lipstick stain on the back of a shirt my husband had worn. The day he wore that shirt and came home late, he claimed it was due to overtime. However, it seemed unlikely that someone wearing lipstick would be leaning over him at his predominantly male workplace. If that were the case, well, imagining it is too frightening. Could it be a woman? The answer came naturally to me, but a single lipstick mark wasn't substantial evidence. He could easily explain it away as an accident or a collision. So, I decided to observe more closely, gathering more evidence. Ironically, with just a little vigilance, the proof of infidelity began to unravel before my eyes. For example, when I was asleep at night, my husband would invariably get up around 2 a.m. to use the bathroom. Until then, I had never suspected anything. However, it turned out that during those late-night trips to the bathroom, my husband was actually having phone conversations with another woman. There were times when long hairs emerged from the inside of his suit. I also noticed faint traces of what appeared to be lipstick on his handkerchief. But the clincher was when I borrowed his car after a long time and found a colored lip balm inside. If he were known to use tinted lip balm, it would be a different story. This was the most irrefutable evidence I had encountered so far. We were in our 10th year of marriage. The bitterness of losing my husband to a random woman, coupled with a genuine loneliness and rekindled affection for him, flooded my emotions. Could we not start over? Was there no way to make him reconsider? Just as I pondered these questions, I began to exhibit signs of pregnancy. Naturally, I thought, this timing must be a gift from the heavens. We had no children, and perhaps our relationship had grown stale, leading to my husband's infidelity. Maybe this pregnancy could be the catalyst for change. Filled with hope, I broached the topic of pregnancy with my husband. However,
What? Spare me. It's a hassle. Let's break up.
I couldn't believe my ears. In hindsight, my thinking and assumptions were naive. It's rare for a cheating man to return to his partner. Fairy tale endings like those in popular TV series don't happen often. But back then, I believed that if we loved each other and were married, we could surely find a way back. Is that even a way to put it? It's your child.
Even so, a father like me is better off not being around. Besides, you've already figured it out, haven't you?
I felt my heart skip a beat as I looked at his smirking face.
I'm the one who's been unfaithful.
pretending not to know about my husband's affair and scheming to restore our relationship after becoming pregnant. I felt like I'd been pushed off a cliff. At that moment, I believed that if his infidelity came to light, our marriage would become strained, and he wouldn't return. But I had misread the situation.
I've been doing things to make sure you find out, but you haven't said a word. I'm fed up.
Huh?
Cheating? Impossible! Let's get a divorce!
I've been waiting for you to say that. Honestly, don't make me go through the trouble.
Is this a joke?
I wouldn't go through such trouble just for a lie. Right now, I have a cute 24-year-old girlfriend. A 38-year-old woman about to gain weight from pregnancy? No longer needed.
After saying this, my husband added a predictable dad joke.
If you end up as round as a pear, we can no longer remain a pair.
He chuckled to himself, but it wasn't funny at all.
Here, sign this divorce form. I'll pay whatever compensation you want.
He handed me the divorce papers. After 3 days and nights of crying, and with my husband no longer returning home, I finally made up my mind and signed the divorce papers. 5 years later, I found myself fearing the prospect of growing old and remaining single, but fortunately, I remarried my childhood friend David, who is also divorced. We now live a modest life together with our child. David too seems to have been cheated on by his ex-wife and has gone through a messy divorce. We were both comrades who understood the pain of divorce, and our life together felt comfortable. David always reserved a fancy restaurant for our wedding anniversary and gifted me something slightly extravagant on my birthday. I felt cherished. I hoped for days like these to continue indefinitely. With that in mind, we approached another anniversary. We were supposed to enjoy a delightful meal at our usual upscale restaurant, but...
Whoa! Olivia!
The person who scowled openly upon seeing my face was my ex-husband. Why are you here? I couldn't hide my disgust either. What a tragic twist of fate. I had accidentally encountered my ex-husband as he emerged from the restroom.
Oh. Entertaining someone, huh? Unlike you, who looks bored, I'm busy.
He glanced behind me and approached with purpose.
Oh, wow. Did you give birth to the child you were pregnant with at that time? Disgusting.
The ex-husband, who pulls up a child's hand and, while looking intently, starts saying outrageous things.
Seriously, don't go and have a child with the guy you broke up with. Oh, wait, did you not forget about me? Did you think that having a child might keep our connection alive? Hey, what's the deal?
Grinning, my ex-husband playfully spun the child around, who gradually became more distressed. The child wailed.
Daddy. Mommy. Help. I'm being taken away by a stranger.
Steady there, kiddo. I'm your dad, after all. Mom's right over there. The child is just as silly as you are.
It was at that very moment my ex-husband uttered those words. Suddenly, a tall man over 6 feet appeared from behind and firmly grabbed my ex-husband's arm.
This child is mine. What's wrong?
Huh?
Seeing my ex-husband's bewildered expression, I almost burst out laughing.
Wait. Is this guy Olivia's new husband?
I remained silent in response to my ex-husband's question.
I don't know what you've been saying, but you can't just upset someone's child and expect to get away with it. Can you?
The tall man glared at my ex-husband. From his burly arm, tattoos reminiscent of a gang peeked out, and my ex-husband's face turned pale in an instant.
Well, Olivia, stop your husband.
Huh? That woman isn't my wife.
What?
Caught off guard by the man's words, my ex-husband repeatedly compared me, the man, and the crying child.
Wait. What? Then who is this kid?
My ex-husband was now bound by the tall man, his arms secured. The man's voice echoed through the restaurant.
This suspicious person keeps spouting nonsense. Someone, call the staff. There's someone here harming a child.
The commotion spread throughout the restaurant. What a day for our important wedding anniversary, I thought, suppressing a smirk. Despite the happenstance, it turned out to be a good day. Waiter! Over here! This man forcibly grabbed the child's arm. I pointed out, and my ex-husband stood there, mouth agape.
Wait, Olivia! What's going on? Seriously, I don't understand.
Desperate, my ex-husband continued to protest. I addressed him firmly. I am not that man's wife, nor is this child mine. Certainly not yours either.
But the child was right behind you.
Well, you were blocking the narrow restroom entrance, preventing this child from going inside. The kid was just following his dad to the restroom, and you got in the way.
Huh?
Seriously, you must want to make a fool out of me, but don't jump to conclusions too quickly. Why don't you take a better look around?
You're annoying. Who are you to say that?
Indeed, a suspicious person like you wouldn't understand my gracious words.
I'm telling you, I'm not a suspicious person.
Oh really? A person who approaches an unknown child, grabs the arm, and then uses baby talk like, "I'm your daddy," that person is undoubtedly suspicious.
But
Furthermore, telling the woman right in front of you, "Mom's right over there?" Do you still think we're married? As I smirked, my ex-husband's face turned crimson.
Cut the crap!
He shouted. But the man restraining him tightened his grip, matching my ex-husband's volume.
Arg! Hey! Dude! Let go! I'm innocent!
What do you mean, innocent? You're the one who upset my adorable son, aren't you?
But it's all a misunderstanding.
I interjected promptly. You misunderstood and interfered with someone else's child. That's a fact. Ex-husband glared at me, and I continued. Oh my, I'm so scared of being glared at by a suspicious person. How terrifying. My exaggerated tone seemed to get under his skin, and my ex-husband recklessly struggled to break free from the man's restraint. Acting like you're married to a stranger like me, huh? Oh, could it be that you haven't forgotten about me? I deliberately repeated what my ex-husband had just said to me. As expected, my ex-husband grew angry, and the perceptive man who sensed danger promptly rolled him onto the floor and pinned him down. The man retorted.
You seriously thought you could break free from my restraint?
Although it might have been a minor confrontation from the man's perspective, the combination of his height and visible tattoos made it quite intimidating. I'm sure my ex-husband briefly thought, today might be my last day.
Hey, Olivia!
Say something. It's all a misunderstanding, right?
No, it's not a misunderstanding when you forcibly grabbed someone else's child.
I thought the kid was mine.
My ex-husband, half crying and speaking like a child, made me burst into laughter. You haven't acknowledged paternity, haven't paid child support, and yet you claim my child?
Huh?
Did I ever discuss paternity or child support after our divorce?
Well, even if you did, I have no intention of acknowledging it. And you knew that, so you didn't contact me, right?
You're clueless. Despite having a child, if I were a single parent, I wouldn't do something so foolish. I'll pursue this until you acknowledge and pay up.
Huh? Why?
Back then, the pregnancy test results were wrong. When I visited the obstetrician, it turned out I wasn't pregnant. That's when I decided to sign the divorce papers. Yes, during those 3 days when divorce was on the table and my husband stopped coming home, I cried. But I couldn't divorce without clarity, especially with a child involved. So, I visited the obstetrician to organize my thoughts about divorce, alimony, and future expenses. If not divorcing would benefit the child, I was willing to endure. However, at the obstetrician's office, there were no signs of pregnancy. Instead, they found an ovarian tumor. During the surgery, I happened to share a hospital room with my current husband's mother. Since my current husband and I were childhood friends, I was familiar with his parents. When my current husband came to visit his mother, we met again and became close once more. Once, I believed that getting pregnant at this timing was a divine gift, a way to make things work with my ex-husband. However, reality proved otherwise. It brought me someone who made me realize that divorcing my ex-husband was the right choice. Additionally, it led to early detection of my illness. Last year, despite having one ovary removed, I still managed to have a child with my current husband. It might seem like a roller coaster, but for me, it was a string of fortunate events. My ex-husband, now aware of everything, muttered with a pale face.
This can't be true. I got dumped by that woman.
Of course, I couldn't help but laugh. Well, it's no wonder young girls wouldn't want to deal with an aging guy like him. At that moment, a police officer arrived. Apparently, someone from the restaurant had called them. My ex-husband received a stern warning from the police. Fortunately, the situation didn't escalate too dramatically after the misunderstanding was cleared up. The child's family received a sincere apology. After being thoroughly grilled by the police, my ex-husband seemed to have suffered significant damage. He even came to apologize to me. Since he doesn't know my current residence, he visited my parents' house and conveyed his sincere apologies to my mother. It appears that he realized the awful way we parted was a mistake. It was a bit late for apologies, but I suppose he felt the weight of his terrible parting. Aging, abandoned by his affair partner, and feeling utterly defeated, he realized the loneliness of having no one to comfort him. Well, even if he apologized now, it wouldn't change anything. I continue to ignore my ex-husband. Honestly, thoughts of him have diminished over time. By the way, on that day, my current husband noticed my prolonged absence from the table and came to the restroom to find me. However, he deliberately observed the situation from the shadows, thinking, this might be my first and last chance for payback against my ex-husband.
Of course, I was ready to intervene if anything happened. But that guy who was restraining him was incredibly strong.
Oh, that guy was apparently the captain of an American football team and a champion in martial arts.
Yeah, he was formidable. I had no role to play. It was pretty scary. I thought he might have some dangerous profession.
Hearing my husband laugh, I couldn't help but join in with a smile. While some might say, that's not very manly. In such a situation, my current husband has no connection to my ex-husband. I felt that this was a problem I needed to resolve on my own. I realized that I lacked strength when I got divorced. Despite everything, My actions at the time were merely following my ex-husband's lead. I divorced him and received a modest amount of alimony from both him and his affair partner. Reality doesn't always unfold like a fairy tale, so securing an exorbitant alimony wasn't feasible, especially when I felt powerless. However, in the end, I found the unwavering determination to speak up against my ex-husband, and that, to me, signifies true strength. Now, I can face my husband and child without hesitation. Interestingly, this year's wedding anniversary became a new beginning for me. And now, in the present, my husband, a first-class architect, transitioned to freelancing, doubling our income. I quit my part-time job and now enjoy being a full-time homemaker. Our slightly rebellious daughter grumbles when I ask her to do something, but when I stay silent, she quietly lends a hand. The way she switches between moods is irresistibly adorable, and it's a secret shared only between my husband and me. Despite having only one child due to my advanced age at childbirth, our household is lively with my husband, daughter, and our 2 dogs. Despite never having children with my ex-husband, and despite having only one ovary, I was able to conceive and give birth even at an older age with my current husband. In a way, perhaps it's fate. As a child, I secretly longed for that dream of marrying a special, destined partner, and now, through remarriage, I've fulfilled it. Isn't that a bit dreamy to think about? While contemplating these thoughts, I cherish the extraordinary happiness that comes to me as if it were ordinary.
How did you find this story? And if you'd like, please consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time.